Hello, everybody, and welcome to another casting of Starcraft 2. Now, this time, you might notice, we're not Terran, and we're not Protoss. We're Zerg. I've been trying to play all three races for the fun of it, trying to understand how each one works a little better, and it's been quite a bit of fun. We're going to watch my perspective just for a little bit. I have no idea what good Zerg builds are. But this game went pretty okay. And I'm gonna see what I could have done better, and I'm gonna walk you guys through it because I think that's fun. I rewatched some of my old videos, and I like the cast style. I like doing it, and I like trying to be informative, I guess. So right now, we went for hatch, gas, and then pool, which I know is decently standard, I believe. Our opponent is going for double gas, and I believe goes into a 2-1-1. 2 barracks, 1 factory, 1 starport, and then does some other stuff. But they also managed to steal our gas, but that's okay because I wasn't really too focused on that. I wasn't focused on gas too much because I just wanted to get queens and lings and kind of defend with that. I honestly took a really long time to get enough gas and start upgrading into... I went into Ling Hydra Ultra with a couple lurkers. And honestly, should have done better getting gas early. This friend here was because, I don't know, I was worried about proxies. I was worried about some shenanigans, so I sent a drone out just to scout. I know I had this overlord here, and I think my next one I sent out as well. But I never even saw this Reaper. So I kill him with my lings anyway. It takes a while to get the overlord scout, so... Thankfully, this map seems pretty friendly for that kind of thing, because even if they've got a marine up and ready, I could go through the side this way and check things out. The Reaper wants to get some damage in, but I manage a half surround, and he doesn't micro him, so I get free kills. And got a little bit of oversaturation, but that's alright. Hopefully I start transferring. Come on. Alright, I don't. That's fine. We've got... Oh, man. I don't even know what I'm floating for. What am I doing right now? Oh, I'm going for a third. I'm checking this. I see... Factory. I see Starport. I did see the mine, which I thought was good. A mine does not one-shot an overlord, so... Brings it close, though. And I'm like, okay, cool. We've got a mine on the way. Might as well send that over. I did make I made an extra overlord. But I don't have another one on the way, so I'm going to get supply block pretty early. I also was quite worried about a mine just walking in or getting dropped off. So I had scouting in case, you know, he had it walking across the map, or he had another mine that I didn't see. Not that that might be entirely possible, but I just wanted to make sure. Alright, I finally transferred. Probably could get a second gas, but I'm going into lair because I want to get hydras. I get upgrades because I want to get carapace. My opponent doing a marine, or sorry, a mine and 6 marine drop. We'll see how I react. Behind this, he's got siege tank. Meanwhile, I've been supply blocked for a long time. Because of that, I'm floating a decent bit of cash, but I'm managing to work her up. Now, if I was paying attention, I would have spotted this, but I am not. I did set up some preemptive spores. I probably made them a bit too early, but seeing the starport, I did get a bit worried.
Queen's ready. Find a hatchery to inject.
Okay. I'm doing some scouting, but not seeing the medevac that's about to come in. Not seeing the medevac, and goes boosting in. Thankfully, the Spore and the Queens just happen to be in position. And by this point, I get the notification. I'm like, okay, well, we gotta deal with this. And I was so lacking in attention that I made sure the Spore was in range, because I didn't know if that guy had died yet.
You have a new queen.
But he did.
Those hatcheries won't inject themselves.
My opponent going for a third base, and honestly has a very small army. I have an absurd amount of gas. And I thought about Muta for a little bit, but I think my biggest problem this game was my supply. Definitely, I was really behind on supply. I don't know how much to spend when it comes to just hitting the, the drone button versus getting upgrades and overlords and new bases. Like, I don't know the timings on when I should get my new hatcheries, but honestly, I think that's okay. We're just getting into it. I definitely don't play Zerg for, for a while. This was quite fun, I'm not gonna lie. I did manage to interrupt this several times. So despite my opponent sending in some Marines to deal with it, I deal enough damage here. I kill 1, 2, almost 3 Marines. And I decided, you know what, let's go back in, do a little bit of damage, because he's going to be sending another SCV. I noticed the tank, by the way. At some point, I noticed that the Ling got killed by a tank. I decide, okay, we're going to make a 4th, and we're going to keep our upgrades going, and we're going to make some more Lings. Now, another problem I think I've run into is the fact that I don't inject. I'm trying to. As you can see, I've got a good amount, but maybe I can end up making a macro hatchery just because I know I'm not going to be on top of that. I get another interrupt on the command center. Definitely going to frustrate my opponent. And this was also quite silly here, because the AoE from the siege tank kills all of his forces. So he has to send another SCV. I'm at 55 workers, which I feel like is pretty good. I'm going to make another 8 workers. I've got a good amount of upgrades. Okay, I've only got +1, but my opponent, I believe, well, obviously, is going into mech. Building a lot of supply depots, but I guess it's just because he has such a huge amount of cash. Deciding to turtle with some Thors, and I decide, okay, well, I might as well try to spend some of this gas, because I get Hydras, I get my upgrades going, and I go for an Infestation Pit and Banelings, because I realized, okay, I really don't have much in the way of defense. Thankfully, my opponent wasn't going for like a bio push, because I think like a 1-1 timing attack with like 4 or 5 siege tanks probably would have wiped me out. I decided to do both some scouting and some counter aggression, sending Lings on both sides of the map, hoping to go through here. I definitely could have gotten them past, but I decided to go for these. I could have surrounded that siege tank, probably could have killed it, but I don't know. Again, the siege tank friendly fire doing more for me than my opponent. Let's see how I react to the fact that... Wow, I don't think I really knew about... Wow, okay. I didn't really know my opponent was going mech. I figured he was definitely turtling, and I did pay attention to the fact that there were Thors and lots of siege tanks. I just probably didn't take it very seriously, which I probably should have. But I did take it as an opportunity to greed, in the sense that I began expanding. I mean, we've got 5 expansions or bases right now, 5 hatcheries versus 3 command centers. pretty good considering that my opponent is wasting scans on, or wasting energy on scans. Now, he's producing 3 Thors at a time, which, you know, probably isn't the best goal, especially given that he has 0 upgrades. And, I mean, our armies are pretty comparable in supply, but he's definitely got... He's very slow, but he's definitely got a stronger army and a straight-up engagement, especially now that he's going for upgrades. But at this point, I go into Hydras. I got 63 workers. I'm making a 6th base and just holding down the drone button. I actually... Oh my gosh, I didn't even notice this. Holding down the super overlord button, making 11 overlords at once. Definitely slacking on supply. Let's see, let's check our queen energy. Slacking on a little bit of injects. Definitely slacking on injects. I don't have them hotkeyed. I hit my camera buttons to go from base to base. I don't know if that's the right way to do it, but it's how I do it. My opponent making Marines, unupgraded Marines. No stim, no shield. So they're pretty weak overall. Most of his forces obviously in Thors. And got a decent sized army. I feel pretty happy about it. I decide I want to go into Ultras. Because I like Ultras. I don't know if they're particularly good. But I decide to keep scouting. Just throwing away units, to be completely honest. Just trying to say, hey, I'm going to poke here, see what's going on. I'm going to poke here, see what's going on. Something that I think definitely lends to that is the fact that I don't need to have hotkeys for gateways, barracks, you know, Robo, Stargate, any of that kind of stuff, because it's all in my hatchery. And so, I do manage to supply cap my opponent. Very nice. But it's comforting in a way, or it's motivating in a way to know that I can save my normal hotkeys for units. So I try to split armies. I make sure my Vipers are on a separate hotkey than my, you know, main force, than my harassing force. Doing pretty good on upgrades. It is currently 2-1-1 to 1. But he is getting +1. He's getting Hellion Flame. Getting smart servos, which I don't really remember seeing him use. Is he going for a move out? No, he's just realigning them. I've got 77 workers, so some of my bases aren't fully saturated, but I am finally on gases, which is nice. That way I've got plenty of gas. I've got a good army. 122 to 110. And this is where I believe I split up again. I got chitinous plating and anabolic synthesis for my overlords coming up. Overlords, ultralisks, whatever they're called. Got this cool Tarask skin. And I am moving them all as one, but that's because I, you know, have them in one spot. I think eventually I split them up. And we'll see how it goes. Okay, I guess not. Now, unfortunately, without having any vision, I just kind of accidentally get into this army, so we're about to have a clash. Though it goes my way decently with a blinding cloud and a second blinding cloud, so these Thors can't attack, they're just stuck. And the Hydra's dealing a good amount of damage. Just cleaning up with that concave. At the meanwhile, I have some lings coming into the natural. Now, they're not doing too much damage because I feel like if there were some banelings, it would be a lot better. But I get into the planetary, which he does mass repair on. I should have started targeting the SCVs. I don't believe I do that too late. I could also have this Ultralisk go in to tank some damage, but by this point, I think I'm going... Let's see. I think I just decided to throw this guy in for no reason, I guess. I figure I've got so much, you know, material and resources that it doesn't really matter. I'm going for a 7th and an 8th base. super aggressive on 20 drones coming in hot for both my 8th, or my 7th and my 8th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep, I think I even go for a 9th at some point, but I don't remember. I decided to go yet again for another attack. This time splitting up, I believe, with Banelings to his west flank. Remembering that, well, Lings aren't really good at breaking this stuff, but Banelings sure are. My opponent finally got some upgrades, but I'm keeping pretty aggressive. I decided to go Carapace because I want it to be... I want them to be durable. I don't know if that's the right way to do it, but it's what we're doing. The double Evo chamber definitely helps. And I didn't go for dash for Hydras. I haven't really used those, but here you see I'm sending a large force of Banelings. What is this, like 20 Banelings? They're going to go off to the side. I've got some guys scouting. They interrupt this attack, or interrupt this command center. And I got some more forces coming in, just because my opponent... The problem with mech is you can't be multiple places at once. So I got this big engagement here coming in, getting plenty of SCV kills. This Ultralist has got 3. This one's got... Okay, you don't have that many kills. But the Hydras, I mean, I'm targeting the wrong stuff here. But definitely causing chaos. These Banelings are just chilling. Kind of glad. I believe eventually... Come on, let's send it in. Yeah, send them into these Thors, which I think is not the right call. Yeah, holy crap. Those Thors tanked a lot of damage. My opponent decides to go for a counterattack. I'm assuming because he doesn't think there's much else he can do. And while he might be correct about that, I mean, I've just got... Even if I lose 3 bases, I'm still ahead. Even if I lose 4 bases, I'm still ahead. Because I've got a huge bank. And... Let's see. Our opponent goes in for this. Behind this... What's happening? Why aren't I making anything? I don't know. What am I doing here?
Those explosions you hear, that's your
Okay, well, I've got Hydras...
Don't just stand there, shoot back.
automatically going into fire, but you know, it's alright. I think I set up a bit of a counter attack.
Your base has some
Or at least a pincer. Something I definitely have learned from watching people like Pig or Lambo. You want splits. You want lots of splits. You want to make sure that you can surround your opponent. Given that, you know, most of your units are pretty weak. And kind of forgot that immediately my opponent just dips out of the game. I honestly think I did pretty chill that game. I'm pretty happy with how I handled that. I think, you know, obviously I could have worked on some stuff, and I think the main thing is reviewing these games gives me the opportunity to see that and to keep going. I mean, like, by the end of the game, I had full energy on all my queens. I definitely need to keep up on my macro. I definitely need to keep up on my supply, but, I mean, I feel like my strategy was pretty well. Just crazy expand and keep harassing, you know? I had preemptive units on future bases. I believe that's what took this command center here and allowed me to use the Banelings to take out one of these command centers. And just using big, chonky Ultralisks to move in. Aggressively upgrading. I think another weak thing that I didn't really work on was creep, but you know, like I said, this is my off race, so honestly I think we did pretty good. And I believe, let's see what we're at. We're at silver 1, so I'm pretty happy with that. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and see you later. Have a good one.